What up, y'all? This is your boy PR Cuz here at the 61 Minute Podcast Studios. I am your host. This is basically this episode part 3 on the Kingslayer. This is basically just giving you guys my conclusion. Cause as far as what happened with the king and the people who betrayed him, leading up to his assassination. Now, we are going to go back in time because I'm giving you a small taste on what he was up against and who betrayed him. But we got to get to the root of the problem. We got to get to the root of the problem. We got to understand that this didn't happen overnight. We got to understand how it happened. That way it doesn't happen again. So we got to start looking into, okay, when did this movement started? When did this take place to disenfranchise us? And really, you don't got to go that back. But I am going to say it goes back to 1917. We're going to go back there, and it's going to be more in depth and more clearer as far as what took place and what made sense. Because I'm not gonna do the whole Illuminati. I'm not gonna do all that because it's, the truth is simple. It's not hard to. The truth is simple. It doesn't need any extras. So if we're gonna go back in time and we're gonna deal with the fact that when this started and when did this get hijacked, this movement, as far as the civil rights. So we're going to be going back in time to go, back into the future again. So my conclusion when it comes to the Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King pretty much upset a lot of people with his way of bringing people together as far as peacefully. It wasn't about Republican. It wasn't about Democratic. It was just about people wanting their rights. And in the verge of his journey, he stepped on a lot of shoes naturally, because a lot of people wasn't interested in going. They wanted to keep segregation. They wanted to keep that still. But there was a lot of things changing. People started waking up, started noticing that the dollar and the power behind the dollar and the power behind the vote. So, take for example, Birmingham, Alabama, and as far as with the integration with the school system. Now, there were people that wasn't for it, and basically, Dr. King, what he did, he brung one of the mightiest nations to his knees without actually inflicting a gun. I always, I'm still more of a Malcolm, but this right here definitely takes a lot of guts to do, to bring down the mightiest nation without lifting anything or even looking at a rock to be a potential weapon. This man did everything peacefully. Unfortunately, a lot of his movements got hijacked by organizations like the Invaders, which is another person named Cody Smith that I already tapped into in the second episode. So the situation with King and I'm going to tap in on the assassination. And just to be clear, this is all alleged for entertainment purposes only, just to be on the safe side and be respectful, to the family also. But as far as what happened with the situation with Dr. King was gonna have a meeting in Washington, which was gonna discuss a lot of meeting in Washington. So before then, he goes to Memphis. This is, I think it's his second or third time in Memphis. The first time in Memphis, he got invited by the South Alliance Christian Church, which is run by on Dr. King and Ralph Abernathy. And the people who invited him was all reverends, Ralph Abernathy, the Mr. Cowles, and Andrew Young, and I'm missing another brother, Jesse Jackson. But Jesse Jackson, remember also that Jesse Jackson and Martin Luther King had got in a big argument, and after that, you can't. Another thing about Jesse Jackson that I want to bring up is that you hardly see him ever marching with Dr. King, like really out there marching. I have yet. Please, if you have one, let me know. But I have yet to see a actual picture of Dr. King and Jesse Jackson in the same facility as far as marching for peace. Now to me that says a lot. But that's little stuff to the stuff that we uncovered already. Now, as far as him getting invited to Memphis to help out the poor man's campaign with the garbage workers in Memphis, Dr. King did go over there, and so were other, like the NAACP was there also, and other organizations, but he wasn't the only one. But that movement got hijacked, and it caused a big riot. Remember, we were talking about when tensions were really high, garbage was all over the place. You had people picking up their own garbage. Like I said, the stage was set for violence because people had enough. You had a division between blacks and white. And then you have people picking up their own garbage, feeling that they should be, more than happy to oblige and do that type of work because of the time being, segregation and stuff like that, a lot of racist stuff. So we got to take an effect of that. Now, he was put in a situation where Martin Luther King said himself that the body, the church, which is the people that he was around that he got assassinated, invited him there. So my question is, okay, you went there, it got turned into a riot, you leave and come back, and this is after they come back after they got granted and recognition by the union. So Dr. King comes back. I don't know why, because this is like basically throwing gas on the fire, gasoline on the fire, because the movement is pushing forward. They got what they wanted as far as the recognition for the union, better treatment, more money, But by him going there, it felt like, it didn't feel good. As far as him going, knowing that they already had a huge riot there. So the stage to me was set for something to happen to him because there was no need for him to be there again. So he gets there and everything. He does the speech. You see Ralph Abernathy and Jesse Jackson there. You see Martin Luther King displeased. And then following, they had a dinner, supposedly with Reverend Cowles. The dinner was at 6 o'clock. Nobody's, or what I understand is nobody knows what really went on that last hour with King because he spent it with the reverends. Me personally, I think from what we gather information that Dr. King wasn't killing the balcony. And you could even look at the pictures. If Dr. King was to get shot in the balcony, the blood spatter. See, that's a lot of these the things that make these cold cases really warm, is because back then there wasn't no thing as far as blood spatter. I think, you know what I mean. It wasn't. I don't think it was. Maybe not. But what I looked at is the fact that the way the bullet was projecting, it could never, the way it hit him and the way where he landed into what Jesse Jackson said, because Jesse Jackson had said that Martin Luther King got shot in the shoulder, and other people said the same thing. So that contradicts the fact that he got shot in the jaw. Because even the 911 call said the same thing. Even reporters from the United States International Press, I believe, said the same thing. So, and there's videos on that. So you have a lot of people saying that he got shot in the back. Yeah, there's also a video of Andrew Young telling a young lady there's statements from Jesse Jackson saying that he called Coretta Scott and said that King had got shot. King had got shot in his shoulder. It looks like his shoulder. So from what I see a lot of people changing their stories or recanting the stories to make it seem of, more believable of a sniper. Now we know that, James Earl Ray basically, I won't say is the shooter, but there's a picture that you see when Dr. King was going up the steps. There's a white guy that describes a 911 call saying a white male well-dressed. Now, well-dressed to me seems, nice khaki, nice button-up shirt, but there was a guy with a suit that looks exactly like James Earl Ray, and he was right next to Dr. King. So, and as Dr. King is going up the steps, you see Ralph Abernathy just looked that direction and scratches his neck. It just, that movement didn't seem natural to me. It really didn't. It felt like he was sending a signal. Now, as Dr. King goes up, from what the detail and the witness say, that he got shot. He felt the blast was so impactful that he fell against the apartment door, which is 306. Now, there's no blood in the door in 306. There's no blood on the walls either. So that tells me that he didn't get shot there. Now, if you notice where Martin Luther King's body is placed, and funny I said place because they covered Dr. King with a big blanket, a huge blanket. Why would you cover Dr. King with this huge blanket on his body and like something happened, like they're covering something that for us not to see? Because it's like they picked them up with the blanket and they dropped them there. So what I see, and it's funny how nobody talks about the blanket that was around the corner. It looked like it was blood. But that blanket, that big blanket that they have him covered, to me, it was weird. It was weird because if the wound wasn't up, you don't need to cover his body unless you picking him up with the blanket and bring him downstairs. Now, that's another thing with the ambulance. The ambulance he got shot at 6:01 or 6 p.m. The ambulance, and it's no reports when it got there, but he did get in the hospital at 6:15. So it took him 15 minutes to get Dr. King as far as get looked at, get a pulse and stuff. So that to me, the time is a little bit off with me. So there's a lot of things that I've seen that definitely I could pick and choose and say, well, it can't happen like this. And then you have Jesse Jackson pointing to the direction of the building. You even see him looking towards the direction of the building. Normally, if you did not see the smoke come out the gun, or you didn't see the reflection in the scope, it's kind of real hard to hear a shot of that caliber, because when you hear it, you hear like it's surround sounds. You hear all over. Actually, you see the body drop and then you hear the sound. So, by that time that you hear the sound, the guy's already, folding up the rifle, putting it down on the floor. It's been done. Because once a shot takes place, you see the body drop, you're actually looking. It's just human instincts. You're looking at the body and then you look where the shot came from. Now, the reports say that the shot, at first, the 911 responder said that it came from the west side. Actually, the west side is behind Dr. King if you place it. And the east side is in front of him. So they corrected that. They said, no, it came from the east side. All right, cool. Now, in the later reports, right, we all know that numerous people said he got shot in the back. Andrew Young, Jesse Jackson, um, the 911 responding, and a couple other people that I think work for the press. They say he got shot in the back and the shoulder. So when Jesse Jackson was speaking to the press for as far as what happened, I definitely noticed that he had a scratch on his right or above his right eye, and it seemed like he had a black and blue right under his left eye. So it tells me something tells me, because whenever they say that there's a 911 call or murder or anything like that, and you see the witness and they got a bloody eye or cut in a or anywhere or some signs of struggle, that person is potentially or will be a witness or a potential candidate for the murder or a potential suspect. So I wonder, why didn't anybody say, "Hey, Jesse Jackson, what happened with the cut right above your eyebrow? And what happened? You seemed like you went into an altercation. What happened?" Well, remember, Martin Luther King got in an argument with Jesse Jackson in Atlanta. After that, we don't know if they spoke. The last time we saw him on camera, all three of them, or him and Jesse, it was when they made the mountaintop speech, you know? And when you actually look, when Martin goes back, and remember also him saying about threats and him speaking in that direction. And then him walking back to his seat, and he walked to his seat. He did not, his body language was like he's not acknowledging none of these people. Jesse Jackson had to take Martin Luther King's hand to shake his hand. Rap Aronaki had to hug him, and he wouldn't hug him back. So that clear as day, tells me that he was displeased with these two individuals. Now, also remember, in that same picture, I don't know if you see Reverend Cowles, but Reverend Cowles was supposed to be at the police station telling these people that King, remember, it goes back to the riots that they had. How are you going to take the protection away knowing they just had a huge riot here in Memphis? Dr. King, his life his life is threatened every other day. Like, before he even got to Memphis, he had a bomb threat. So why would Reverend Cowles take away the protection? Because if you ask me, actually, I believe was the captain of the Memphis police force, he said he always had about 20 guys surrounding Dr. King. So that 20 guys, that means that his life was in danger at any given time. And Memphis was a Democratic governed state at that time. So was Atlanta. So was Alabama. So was everything around that area. I believe probably the only place that wasn't a Democratic state was Florida, if I'm not mistaken. So now we understand that the stage is set. Everything is on go. Martin gets shot. Jesse Jackson's talking to the press, telling the press, listen, he got shot. He fell backwards, and fell on the 306 door. Remember, there's no blood, no trace of nothing there. So all of this is a fabricated story to make it seem like he got shot there. When in reality, I don't think he got shot there. I think allegedly for entertainment purposes only, I think Dr. King got shot most likely in the apartment, and with that same rug they had that same rug they got him out there with. They picked him up, maybe because they was covering the fact that maybe his clothing would have gave some details on what happened. But as far as where the blood was, there's a lot of things that says this didn't take place here. And it comes to the conclusion that this was about hijacking the civil rights movement to make it into converting every Democrat, converting every Aboriginal people from the Civil Rights Movement without even knowing, converting them into a Democrat voter without even knowing these are the people who are the people who segregate the most, the people who incarcerate the most. These are the people. These are the people that Malcolm called out as far as being a Dixiecrat. So start looking at it from that aspect. Because I looked at, Martin's Luther King's record as far as what he was, a Democrat or Republican, and there's no records of that. And it's funny to me, once Martin leaves the earth, we see that Jesse Jackson is a Democrat. We see Ralph Abernathy. Everybody's a Democrat after that, because that was the whole situation. It was supposed to be hijacked in order for you to be. This is where people lose their way. In this situation right here, they missed it with the Clintons, and it was done at this time too. And the reason I say the Clinton is with the 1994 crime bill, you walked right into your own demise without you even knowing. It's like they push you into your own free will, and then they say, well, you voted these people in. 90% of the people, the only people that vote the way Aboriginals vote is Aboriginal. Nobody else votes like that, where they hold one party and they give them 90% of their votes without even getting anything promised to them. So this is the thing that Martin Luther King saw as far as being in the burning house, because he was walking his people into a Democratic Party that didn't even acknowledge them as people. The Democratic Party, which are the Dixiecrats, their flag is the Confederate flag. So while you out there, and I'm speaking to the people in this time, my age, that are out there destroying statues, and Robert Lee and all these people, those were Democrats. You're destroying the people that you're voting for to this day. You're destroying the people that you're voting for, their forefathers. You're not destroying Republican statues. They didn't have Republican views. Lincoln had Republican views. He passed the Freedom Act as far as to free the slaves. And this is why Lincoln got the penny. You could look at a quarter, look at a nickel, look at a dime. I know it seems cliche and funny, but this is the way they talk. Why did he get the penny? Because he freed the slaves in a way, So we have to start looking, and that's another error it's like we get bump in the head and we get amnesia and we forget everything. It's like coming out of the coma. Every time we wake up and we realize who we are, and we realize the power that we hold, we get hit in the head, we go into coma and wake up, and there's another crack epidemic, another Rona, another perk, and all this. This is the way they control us, for a lack of knowledge. So we see that this movement had got hijacked by the Dixiecrats. Martin Luther King's demise came in at the hands probably from a Dixiecrat, allegedly, for entertainment purpose only. And this is why this show, and we are taking it to the next step, and we're going back in time in order to knock down everything that done happened to us, as far as knowing who is really oppressing us. Because in this day and age, you got Dixiecrats in the Republican side, and you got Dixiecrats in the Democratic side. What the Democrats, we already know, is Dixiecrats. So you got them both in both sides. This is why Trump was able to win, because he wasn't obliging with the rules that these people were following. You know, he wasn't your typical politician. He didn't play by these rules. You know what I'm saying? So it's a new day. It's a new day. We see that the Dixiecrats, just like Malcolm said, they run under this Democratic flag, when in reality we know that the Democrats were actually the Confederates. But like Malcolm said, they told you they lost the war. You know? So, conclusion to all this, the civil rights movement had got hijacked by the Dixiecrats. The Dixiecrats hijacked this movement. They decapitated the leader in order for them to put their front runner leaders like Jesse Jackson and the rest of these coons and the rest of these con artists, in order for you to lose your way. You lost your way so much that in 1988, Jesse Jackson said, "You're not even American. You're you're African American." This is a way that they could detach your mind, leave your body somewhere and put your mind somewhere else. You know, and we have to start picking up on that. I really don't think people understand the damage that Jesse Jackson did by putting African American instead of saying Aboriginal American. See, but the thing is, somebody took your crown. Somebody took what's belonged to you. Somebody took that. And we got to go back in time to find out who took it. So then once you know the game, the players, you're gonna know the end. You could know the end result because you already know the game. So we gotta go back in time to 1917 in order to go back forward to 1948 in order to go back forward, and that's when you're gonna get it. So this is in conclusion that in reality, the Democratic Party is actually a party that oppresses, segregates, and misinforms and mistreats the people that put them in power. And Dr. King, when he said he was leading us to a burning house, he was leading us to the house of the Democrats, which is the house of the people of the Confederate. So with that being said, people, salute y'all. Remember, there's going to be new content every day. I'm going to be posting it. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and please don't look at this video and not look at part 1, part 2, because part 1, part 2 is going to have an in-depth and more different approach as far as from what everybody else is talking about. I'm talking about, you're going to have the 911 call. You're going to have people from the press. You're going to have people with the statements. You're going to see Jesse Jackson, which no one has ever said or seen Jesse Jackson look like he was on a fight, allegedly, because he had a cut right over above his eye. And then he had a cut right under his left eye. You know, so with that being said, y'all, let's wake up and understand that we are behind, I don't even want to say enemy lines, but we have the power. We have the power. We have the voting power. We just got to get the people in the right state of mind. You know what I'm saying? So like Pac said, we got to eat better. We got to care about each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get back to the old way. You know what I mean? We got to get back where a village is the one that raises the, you know what I mean, the people in the community. You know what I'm saying? Because not one parent could do it, you know? So with that being said, y'all, salute. Please subscribe, and comment for your boy, man. Let me know what I'm doing. Let me know if I'm doing anything wrong. Let me know what topics y'all want me to touch on, because I have no boundaries, y'all. I'll touch on everything, on anything. All right, salute, y'all. One love, man. Can you see me? Am I clear to you? One.